Hey, sup amigos, homie Ray Rays, how you guys doing? Hope everything is well. As you can see by the title, uh, it's how I made 50 to $80 per share in KRTX. And just to clarify, I am not making this video to show off by any means at all. The intent here is to share the thought process, see if it can benefit somebody else. And the other reason is, like everybody else, I've taken a lot of big losses recently. So this is by no means or any reason that, hey, check this out. I made a lot of money. I made an amazing trade, etc. It's not like that. But I think there's some key valuable lessons here that should be able to hopefully is beneficial. So first thing is first, putting the context in there. This was um, right after NXTC. I think it was where they had a phase one data, and it was a small cap, and I think there was a lockup expiry that day of 5 million shares. They had entered in $15 or something like that. And I may be wrong, but I think squeeze happened on the basis that somebody was short big amount, thinking that the lockup is there, they're going to start dumping, etc. That didn't happen. Low liquidity, they need to get out, caused a parabolic move. So this was the second or third day that this happened. I watched it in the morning and I was like, nope, I don't care. I'm not touching it. I pushed it away. And I really wanted a deep pullback. So this is the first entry. I don't know how to put this all in one position, but this is, so it's multiple different entries, but I'm going to try to put my thought process as clean as possible. So what I was looking for here is once something parabolic that goes from $15 to $65. Decent portion of times there's shorts that are trapped in it. So what ideally you want to look for is a pullback where longs will want to get back in, the ones that didn't FOMO, and the shorts that were stuck. I could see some shorts being stuck here. I could see some shorts being stuck here. And then as it dips, they would be looking to cover their position, go long. So this is where I went long. I went long right here. I think it was around $50.14, something like that. And I was risking below here. Usually, I'm not an I'm a discretionary trader, so I'm not like, oh, if it hits this level, I'm gonna cut it out. I give it a little bit of wiggle room, depending on if it's super parabolic or not. So this was the first long I got here. Got to the high of the day. Uh, actually, so this was not in my full size. So usually when stuff like this happens, I wait for a second pullback, and I think I had an order here, right around here, that didn't get filled. So if I had gotten that, I would have been risking this or risking the low. Currently, my risk was somewhere here. So if I had gotten filled, I would risk below this or risk this. Just small size. So I didn't get filled there. And then I look at it, it's near the top. It's stuffing. So what I do is I sell it. And it was in a very short period of time. And it always is it's shocking. It's like, holy smokes, like what? Just $10 a share? That's pretty crazy. Um, it gets it a bit of in your head. So what happens after that is I switched short bias. I had locates. I located it around here, or I think around here. So, I don't know. I located somewhere, but I was like, I'm not gonna touch it. I'm gonna touch it in case it goes to 100 or something, because I definitely thought it was possible. So I shorted feeler positions here. This was I think this was probably like 1/3, and I just stopped it right here. And then I re-shorted here again, but I think it was only like 1/5 or 1/10 size, because I was like, you know what, still day one, shorts is still trapped here. It could something could still happen. So here is I shorted 1/10, and then I was like, okay, well, I'll just let it do its thing. Let's see what it does. If it looks weak, I'll put some back on. I didn't mind this. I try not to do this, but every once in a while, I had a lot of other positions, and this was very, very minor. Because anything that's not my niche, I usually really size down. This was not a turd. So I looked at the filings, the underwriters, whoever they were, it didn't have overhead supply. It didn't have like a lockup or anything like that. So I was like, very minor size. This was 1/10. Even technically, had this gone to like 90, 100, I know it sounds stupid, crazy. It wouldn't have really bothered me, but I was watching it at the back of my eyes. I was like, okay, well, this is stuff in here, here, and I was like, okay, this is the point, 75. If it cuts it, that's it, I'm done. And then I tried again here because I saw sellers. Uh, so this is a 5 minute chart, but I saw sellers here. I was wrong, and I was like, okay, frick it, I'll cut it. I'll just wait until it breaks 100, and then when it comes back, I'll short. And the messed up part is it washed out, and I was like, okay, once it washes out, I had orders back to short here. So at this point, I was like, okay, this is it. Based on this stuff, I was like, okay, it's here. So I got some orders here. I got orders at 95, 96 to reshort because I try not to chase. It's still because this is still the front side. Anytime at the front, 1/10 size, 1/5, very minor. So that didn't fill, and I'm like, okay, this stock has gone up and has never really had an exit. It never, the longs never got to get out. So usually, almost a very large portion of the times, what happens is when it stuffs like this, it has a test. So instead of FOMOing, what I do is I see a base here and then I wait until that level comes in and I long right at the bottom. And then as soon as a few cents down, I cut it. Because I knew this would, without being a hindsight guru, this is a very much high probability play, very similar play as this. A lot of people have different names, but I always try to understand why things are happening. What are the emotions behind it? Same thing here. Shorts are trapped, washes out, washes to these levels, or even here. Shorts would probably be like, oh my god, thank god we got out. So basically, that's what I was playing. It's pulled back, quickly scalped it, because this is no longer a short play. Where at the end of the day, without going too in depth in this first video that I haven't done in a while, basically at the end of the day, they make a decision. I think this was a foot rotation. They can't hold a large position overnight because they have to file. So usually there's some dumping going on. Long day scalp mode, had no interest in conviction. Touch it. Okay, so the next day at the 18th, so this is the key variable here. On the 18th, there was an S1 that said they're going to price 2.5 million shares at $17. And it was just an S1. And I know a lot of people on Twitter, everybody was like, holy shit, it's a piece of crap company. It's $17 a share. It's going to tank. And I'm like, the underwriters were not, it's not a piece of poop company. It's not a small cap trash company. The underwriters were Goldman Sachs and can't remember who else, but they were not the typical manipulators. And the odds of this being priced $17, given the data, it was phase two. It was very, very low at $17. So if there's anything you guys want to listen to and kind of learn from, is basically you can make a lot of money when a certain large portion of people think a certain way about a stock and you have a good intuition that they're wrong. Everybody started posting, it's like, oh my god, $17 offering, this this is gonna go down, etc., etc., etc. First off, it was just an S1. It wasn't an offering. They announced that they had put it the $17, etc., and you could see that this was filed. $17, 2.9 million shares. Um, so I wrote I was talking to a bunch of my friends, and I wrote in there. I was like, if this goes above yesterday's high, there's going to be a lot of people shorting it. If this opens up above 100, it could really squeeze nicely. But we'll go with the flow. There's always a chance that the people that had participated in the offering, so it was an S1, but the offering would probably come a few days later. Um, like it was priced in, but it didn't have an effect. But there's a high probability it's going to come in a few days. And sometimes what they do is they, not always, but a small portion of the times, there's a possibility that they could have hedged against it. So they would have taken a short position, they participated, and it comes down. But again, when I weighed out the options, who the underwriters were, it was less likely that would happen. But no matter how much bias you have, tape flow, volume flow is king. So I took a short position here, and I was like, okay, I think it opened up and it had a bunch of red candles, and I was like, okay, no problem. I will gladly risk above this level. I cut it. Didn't work out. Hard stop. Got out. After this is, I think, where I made uh, good chunk of money.
That's why I fucked you.
I apologize. Why don't I freaking do this? View extra large icons. I look at it here. I'm blind. I know a lot of people preach sell into the profit, but it's always good to, like, if you want to take your trading to the next level, it's good to wait for an exit. So here I waited. It was deep in the money, so it was like from 100 goes to 120, 130, and then I'm like, okay, well, technically in the past I would have easily taken profits off here, but I watched the tape, and then you wait. Okay, it washes down, pushes up, and you're like, okay, well, let's start taking profits. I took, I think, a large portion out, like 3/4 here, because it tried to make a new high, didn't make it, and it was on the tape was showing their sellers. I relonged it here, same thought process. So, and this time it was wrong, and there's nothing wrong with it. It's always, so I took a long here. Ideally, I wanted to take a long around here, and just risk off of this. This was very small size, so I locked in a lot of the gains. I mean, I knew if it didn't work, it needed to uh, it needed to go higher, but at the same time, it's a very small pullback. But I took the long here. My risk was off of these levels, so I weighed, consolidated, and I'm like, I remember thinking, I'm like, should have waited. But in this case, I didn't. Um, the plan wasn't really to add to a loser. The plan here was it washes, it goes above here, bases, and then maybe you get that. So that didn't work out. Cut it. This was a smaller size because of the wash. So this is where we were. I cut it off here. And now I'm looking at, oh, pushes up, washes. This is the other thing. Whoever was in here, they needed to get out. And you could see that in the tape. So it pushes up. Look at that volume. It pushes up on a thin volume, and then it gets constantly stuffed, stuffed, stuffed. pushes up, gets stuff, stuff, stuff. So I take a starter here and it's working. I add, and then I'm like, well, there's a freaking buyer here and there's a buyer here. So I was like, well, look at all this consolidation. If it's going like this, you know what? I'm just gonna try to take portion out, 1/4 or something. So I did that. This is so difficult. Uh, yeah, so 1/3 here. So the next day happens, and I'm taking a short uh, here, risking versus here. And I think at this point they priced it. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they priced it. They priced it at $96, which is what I was expecting. Um, like I wasn't expecting the price to be $17. The odds are very low, likely. So this actually, I had a lot of conviction in here. I shorted in multiple accounts. I don't know how the heck this TraderView works. It's weird. It's messed up. But I had taken a lot of positions. I don't know why it separates it. Um, but I took a short position here. I added here, and I was definitely much more size. That I was actually shorting at two accounts, not on the basis that I was like, oh my god, this is now an A plus plus. But I had more conviction. The offering price was in, and I was like, listen, if people are buying at $96, it's still really up here. They did 2.6 million, and on a daily, I think it was doing about 1.62 million. So if hypothetically they were people that participated in $96 with 2.6 million or 2.9 million shares, there's gonna be a wash. Some of them are gonna want to take profit. Like, you get in at 96, if you can instantly make a little bit of money, why the heck not? So now you had the overhead that was bigger than the volume flow. So this is another key variable, key nugget, if you want to make mental notes of this, is so the volume, the amount of volume that was it's trading compared to the offering price, the odds of wash was high. So this is why I was short on this account, and I think I was also short on another account. And I think I sold, covered 1/3, 1/4 here, I think, or 1/3. And then this was an idiotic mistake. I wanted to hold till 100. Sometimes I had my P&L, so I always get filled in a weird spot. But I think I had another short as well, yeah. So as it was going down, I was just kept adding. Okay, right. So at that point here at 105, I covered all of it on accident, and then I'm patiently waiting, trying my best not to FOMO. So I add to a position, I add again. This time, I have a decent portion of conviction, and I have locked in a lot of money. Because I think on the upside, I was up 30 $30, 30, 40, a bit more. I don't know. I don't keep track that hard. Uh, but the conviction here was strong as well. Just because I wanted to hold it in to tomorrow. Um, so I shorted to the winner, and then at the end of the close, I shorted quite a bit. I did not cover on this peak. I think after hours it went to like 114, 113, but I wasn't really panicking. Like, I just, I had conviction that the, while I understood that it's not a piece of poop company, um, but at the same time, it's always like, you can develop a thesis, but we also have to be, as traders, we have to distinguish between how we feel and what the trades are. Sometimes your intuition can tell you a certain thing, but from experience and the facts of the situation, you should always lead more towards that. And even if I was wrong, like if I had taken, if this had gone to like like after hours, if it had bounced to like 116, 115, 114, I would have cut it. And you know what? I would take this trade over and over again. And the thesis here was like, first off, technically speaking, I think I was probably short from like the 130s. And so I've been like, technically I was short here, short here, short here, covered like here or something. I don't know. Here and here. Um, so I'm in the money a bit, and the volume flow to overhead, again, I'm repeating that because that's really the key for anybody that wants to trade in small caps or anybody that wants to do SEC filings. Uh, some people would have sold off, even though it's not a crappy company, and they didn't have enough volume to sell into. So if it was trading 1.5 million, 2 million, 2.5 million, and like you need usually like 1/5, 1/6, 1/8 of the volume. So if somebody wants to sell 100k shares, I would say a minimum 800k, 600, 800 to a million shares is needed liquidity because you can't just keep selling, right? So I had a high conviction. I let it go, and I also had it in my swing account as well, and I covered here, and it was a really good trade, and that's how I made into a decent winner. So the overall summary, if the video is not too freaking long, here is wait for the setup, um, be patient. If some people are good, they buy with the washout, they can go long. It's not a problem. Trading is always about matching your personality with your trading style. So, and then risk management. Risk management is the key. So wait for setups like this where somebody it's overextended. Shorts are trapped. Like pretty sure there'd be quite a bit of shorts trapped here. It's pulling, and if it starts basing here, shorts will be like, okay, I went out. Longs will be like, okay. The patience longs that were there, they'll be like, okay, we'll start buying. And then I went parabolic, and yeah, that's about it. Hopefully this was beneficial. Weird to say, but like subscribe and put the notification on if you want. Sometimes what I'll do is I'll try to come back when the video is posted, and if and I'll comment back and I'll see if I can help. Uh, like if you posted a question about it, like I'll check in the first 30 minutes or so. And why am I doing this? I don't have a course, or I don't have like a chat room or something. But I think I had a really rough. I took a few good losses, like I was saying earlier. The intent of the video is not to show off, but uh, we all take losses, and I've been doing decently well, I think. And then I was like, you know what? Why not? Um, I always try to give back, even if I do good or if I don't do good. But especially on the days that I do good or the weeks that I do good, the mindset is to see if you can give back. And the type of trader that I am, uh, this is like these stats. If you go to TraderView, highly recommend that you track what you're doing. So I tend to hold my plays a lot longer. Um, and that's usually how it goes. And that's all. Take care, amigos. Let me know what you guys want, if you guys want me to make any other video. If anybody made it to the end, take care. Bye.